Okay. So, welcome to anyone who may be watching the replay of this. I'm hoping you're having a wonderful day. I have had a it was a challenging day yesterday, but I think today was a little bit better. Okay. So, firstly, I cannot wait till it's warm enough to actually go outside and be able to film. The weather is heating up where I am, but today's not quite to where we need it to be to sit outside. But one day that will happen, and I'm very, very much forward to that. All right, so in this short little video, all right, we're talking about relationships. We're talking about your relationship that you may be in right now at the moment. And as a tarot consultant, of course, this is one of the biggest, most common questions I ever get asked. And it is probably one of the biggest, most common questions in life in general when it comes to big questions that we have to answer for ourselves. And, I can really paint the picture. I can sum it up really well in like a story. Like I was reading at a festival couple years ago, and I had someone come up, and she was kind of really torn up, and I actually, while she was sitting there at my table, I suspect she might have been there with the person that she was actually asking about, because she was there with a guy, and she kind of shoot him off, um, and she basically was like, I'm in this relationship, and when it started, it was so good. I felt so wonderful. I felt on cloud nine. Like, everything was good. All I could think about was this man all day, and it just put such a smile on my face, and like I was bulletproof. Nothing else can bring me down. And I just had all this visions, or these visions of how perfect our life would be, and I just couldn't wait to just spend the rest of my life with this person. I felt like it was all going to come together. But as time went on, things seemed to change, and suddenly our future didn't seem to be so rosy. There's certain things he might have said, there's certain things he did that made me question who it was that I was in a relationship with. And even when I felt like it was time for me to end it, he would spin this as that old side of himself again, and it would make it okay again. And this kind of would be going on. And it's been a while since we had any setbacks, but I'm just kind of feeling like, where is this going? Like, am I wasting my time, wasting each other's time? Like, where's this going? And this is definitely, I could feel that emotional battle that always happens. And one thing I kind of want to bring up and kind of discuss as well is the role of the heart in this sort of situation. So whenever we're having a discussion, we're trying to get to the bottom of if we need to be in a relationship that we're in. And of course, the heart gets so much attention. Like, listen to your heart, follow your heart. The heart knows the way, the heart leads. Like, listen to what your heart has to say. And I would say, I mean, that's a good amount of healthy respect to give the heart. Absolutely. 110%. And in some aspects, it is actually 100% the right answer, is to always, always listen to the heart. But I believe that we are so much more complex beings than that. And if we have both a heart and a head, why not listen to both at the same time? Why not put both of these strengths that we have together? And this topic was sort of inspired by the full moon in Libra, which I believe we just had. I believe the last full moon was a full moon in Libra. And of course, Libra's traditionally, or if you don't know, Libra's traditionally a sign associated with partnerships, with relationships, and equality, and being able to feed two parties being able to feed into each other. And I kind of wanted to take that energy, that topic, and kind of bring in what we want to talk about today. And the card that I want to talk about, as far as from the tarot, that I think directly correlates to what we're talking about, should you end your relationship, to me, is the Two of Swords. And we're going to talk about some cards today. And as you can see, so the Two of Swords shows a woman balancing two swords over her chest. And in this particular card, which is from the Darkwood Tarot by Sasha Graham, which is one of my freaking favorite decks, and she's one of my favorite tarot personalities out there. You can see there are actually little demons and little shadowy figures on the side. There also is a reflecting pool in front of her. But notice the demons are not reflected there, which implies that are they in her mind? Are they in her imagination, perhaps? So the Two of Swords is a very interesting card. And I know that the traditional sort of exploration for it tends to be, are you not listening to your heart? Are you perhaps too much in your head? That can sometimes be the reading for it, but I believe that this, like all of these cards, all depend on the information, all depend on what on the situation that you're in, and they can actually give you different messages. And to me, there's a different message to this card. And actually, I wish I had the information. I wish I had looked ahead of time, because I listened to a wonderful tarot. What was it? It was like a virtual conference, I guess, a little bit ago, done by Kim Wilborn. Oh gosh, I should have wrote this down. But she actually had one of her guests who was a tarot expert on to talk about the number 2 in tarot and talk about how there's different aspects of it. And it's funny because whenever we ask about our relationship, should I end it? Like what should I do? And filling into that answer and trying to feel out what the right answer is. We usually think of the 2 as in the sense of choice, one or the other. And I agree that this actually kind of seems like it could also imply choosing head or heart, choosing this or choosing that. And we usually tend to view the 2s or any sort of aspect of what should you do as a choice between head, heart, this, that. And the 2 choices are in opposition. But there's actually a different energy at play. And it's not just opposition, but it's also a big aspect of the 2, a big aspect of this as well, is confluence. It's synergy. It's not so much choosing head or heart, but actually using both to actually flow together. And what I kind of see in this card as well is it's an aspect of balance. And what ties this card even more too, as well as the full moon in Libra, is actually that's pretty much those 2 things are actually associated with this card. Both the moon and the sign of Libra are associated with the 2 of Swords. So it's very much about that relationship and that choice and that two-ness in general. And what I like to think about is, instead of choosing, should I choose my head or choose my heart, we should concentrate on using both of those to make the right decisions about our relationship. And when we do that, we tend to get a clear answer and a more balanced answer. Because at the end of the day, this actually is, to me, is when we're approaching this particular subject, it's more about balance, confluence, synergy, weighing, than it is about a hard opposition or a hard choice. So 2 of Swords, okay, brings in the energy of Libra, which to me is symbolized by the Justice card. Okay, you see this very stern, deciding goddess here. And it's also brought in by the moon, ruled by the moon. So we have the high priestess, if we look at that. So we have in this two goddess sort of creatures that are very different. One being very feeling, watery, mysterious. One being very rational, cold, hard, able to make the hard decisions. As you see, she's literally potentially about to execute one of these people. So she's kind of a hard ass. It's kind of not very touchy feely, but this one is very flowy, more watery, softer, hard, and less warm. But it's about using both of these energies and making a decision with both of them. So what I like to think about when we ask, should I end the relationship, is to ask a couple questions and to view it from the head, the hard head, legal, cool, cold, and even energy, and to also view it from the softer, the heart as well. Okay. So the first question I want you to really think about is basically, will the person that you're with in this relationship right now, are they growing you or are they shrinking you as a person, who you are? Do you see yourself right now in this relationship, and based upon past incidences, do you see yourself becoming a stronger, a more expansive, a more effective, bigger person than you were before? Do you see yourself being affected in positive ways in your life than you were before this relationship? Or do you not? And what you want to do is you want to ask this to both parts of yourself. You want to ask this to your heart. Okay. And technically, this card comes before this card in the order of the tarot, in the order of the major arcana. So why not ask the heart first? Ask the high priestess side. Ask your moon side first. And you can just actually take a little journal, place your hand over your heart. You might breathe, close your eyes for a second, take a pen, spend a few seconds, and write on a piece of paper, heart, underline, another piece of paper, head, underline. And just kind of feel into that question. Okay, is this person I'm with growing me or shrinking me? Do I feel bigger, stronger, more confident, happier? As in general, am I a better person? And listen to what your heart says. And then you want to listen to what your head says. And for this, you can absolutely just write out what thoughts you're giving. And though the heart part of yourself will describe these things and feelings, the head part of yourself likes incidences, okay? It likes facts and that sort of a situation. So anything that has happened to you, which supports or denies, okay, that sort of energy. Your head is also more critical information. So when you're thinking on the head side, you're going to be more critiquing of what you're in, the situation that you're in, and feel free to do that. And once you have that answer of how is this person making you feel are they growing you? How is this person growing you? Is this person growing you? Once you have an answer for your heart and your head, okay, then what you need to do is make a confluence of both of those and think and really spend time with why that is and what you think is the end result. The second thing we're going to talk about, the second question you want to ask yourself is, if the present situation is all I'm given, if nothing ever changes, and this person, warts and all, doesn't ever change, how do I feel about that? And what do I think about that? So again, heart versus head. because the truth of this story is someone who my expertise is in change, the human change, and humans' ability to change. And though we're capable of incredible freaking change, and we're capable of immense change and turning ourselves around, the truth is that humans, especially grown humans, rarely change. And it takes usually a great catalyst that comes from within us to want to change who we are and to change our behaviors. We tend to default and become creatures of the past and replicate our past behaviors, our past thinking over and over and over. Just because that's comfortable, and because there's a primitive part of our minds that tend to want us to cling to what is known and what is safe. So we tend to do that over and over and over again. Even when we want to change, we often don't change because it requires a complete challenge and moving through a lot of discomfort over a period of time in order to change long term. So know that, especially if someone's catalyst is someone else, especially if the reason for them to change is because you're asking them to, know that that likely is not enough to create lasting change. And the way they are now in the present moment in your present life is likely to continue is likely to forever be the way that they are for the rest of their lives. Most likely. Change is possible, yes, but we're talking likelihood. So if the way they are now, the complaining that they are now is it doesn't change because it's statistically likely not to, how does that make you feel from the heart? And what thoughts do you have? In other words, what does that logically mean? Write down what that logically means and write down the things that aren't going to change. And you want to think about at the end of that exercise, take a look at that. And is this something that you, moving forward forever, can deal with? Whatever cycle you've been going through with this person, you're likely to continue to cycle through that same thing over and over as long as you're in the relationship. Is that something that you can live with? Is that something that makes sense to you? Is that something that you want? And it's important to get this out and rationalize this as well as not just dealing with the heart. Because the heart is certainly needs to be respected, but the heart is also a dreamer. And sometimes that can go into shadow of dreaming a little bit too much and not looking at the reality that is in front of us. And that's why we need to also respect the head and respect your own thinking as well, not just your feeling situation. Okay. So those two questions you want to ask both your heart and your head. Okay. Is this person growing you, expanding you as a person? And if nothing ever changes and everything remains eternally the same as it is right now, including patterns, behavior, if they do exactly to you again what they did in the past, if that's, cheating, ghosting, disappearing, betraying you, whatever that is, if that comes back again, because it's likely to, just simply based on human statistics of how minds work, is that something that you can deal with? Is that something that you want to deal with? Okay. And at the end of this, you want to really spend some time with what you've explored, what you wrote down, and just simply be honest with what you're looking for, and just know that there certainly is a difference between someone not being perfect and putting up with flaws that may come back around and be harmful to deal with in the future, and you making that choice to deal with that. There's a difference between that and setting yourself up for pain, disrespect that is just completely out of line with the absolutely divine, powerful being that you are, and that you need to have basically a sense of respect and power in all relationships that you are in, and expect that from someone else as well. All right, so that's sort of what I kind of wanted to say about that. So hopefully that is a helpful exercise. So definitely reach out to me for any other questions or just to say something or comment, or however you like to do. And also, I want to announce I'm coming out with my very first book. I'm very, very excited. It is tentatively titled How to Change Your Life in 30 Days, a 3-step guide to lasting manifesting power. I'm very, very excited. It is all about changing your life in 30 days, 3 steps, very spiritually designed book to really turn your life and transform your life from the inside out. Of course, if you're at all in the spiritual community for any sort of amount of time, you're already aware of this, you already know this. But however, one thing that I have struggled with was kind of putting these steps together and kind of following into a pathway that made sense as far as taking the spiritual into the practical and how to bridge that. So I'm definitely, very excited about that. If you're looking for, we'd love a free advanced copy. Please reach out to me. I'm looking actually for some test readers for some feedback. So if you see this, definitely check it out. I'm going to hopefully have a page up for it soon, but it would be so greatly appreciated. So thank you so much for this video, and we will see you next time. Enjoy the rest of your week and be well and take care.